Salute everyone, here's our friendly dude Crispus to help us learn the chapter 37 vocabulary. Here's the whole list, take a look at it, pause. Here's the list broken down, take a look at this, pause it, and pronounce each word. Please pause. Okay, repeat after me. Quotidiae. Quotidiae. It means daily or every day. We have a good English word, quotidian, there in red, which means something that you do every day, like brush your teeth, hopefully. Ludus, ludi, masculine. Ludus, ludi, masculine. Well, this word means school or game. In the plural, ludi ludorum means the games, like the gladiatorial combats or the chariot races. We have lots of derivatives in English, including allude and illusion, illusion, delusion, elusive, illusionist, and ludicrous. Proficiscor, proficisci, profectus sum. Proficiscor, proficisci, profectus sum. Now, this verb means to set out in advance. This verb only exists in the passive. It only takes passive endings. And the name for a verb that only takes passive endings is called deponent, which is from Latin to put off. It is put off as active endings. Now, it only exists in the passive, but you must translate it actively. So this verb always means to set out in advance, not to be advanced. And the words in our glosses for the reading are proficisci, which means to set out, and then profectisunt, that's the perfect participle plus a helping verb. So in form it's the perfect passive, but translated actively. They have set out. Okay, here's another deponent verb again. It exists only in the passive voice, but translated actively into English. Verior, vereri, veritus sum. Verior, vereri, veritus sum. Means to fear, to dread, to be in awe of. We get reverence, irreverent, reverend, reverential. Castigo, castigare, castigavi, castigatus aum. Castigo, castigare, castigavi, castigatus aum. This verb means to rebuke or reprimand, to punish. We get lots of words like chaste and chastise. Castigation, there's a good SAT word, means punishment. Virgilius Virgilii, masculine. This is the poet Virgil. His full name is Publius Virgilius Maro. He was born on the Ides of October in 70 BC. He died on September 22nd, 19 BC, or ante diem decem, calendas Octobres. He wrote, of course, the Aeneid, the national epic for the Romans, the Georgics, a work on farming, and eclogues, a work about shepherding. Later spelled Virgil with an I because of the fourth eclogue and the association with the word for wand, virga. In the fourth eclogue, he predicted the birth of a savior from a virgin. Grammaticus, grammatici, masculine. Grammaticus, grammatici, masculine. Well, it means a secondary school teacher. We have lots of derivatives. Anything with gram in it or a graph is related to it. Grammar, grammatical. It's related to writing and anything written or measured in a graph and literature. Here's another deponent verb, experior, experīrī, expertus sum. Experior, experīrī, expertus sum. This verb means to test or to try. We get experience from it, and experiential, experiment, but also peril and imperil. The word glossed on our reading is experitor, which means he or she tests or tries. Notice the passive ending tur, but we translate it actively, not passively. Here's another very common deponent verb, loquor, loquī, locūtus sum. Loquor, loquī, locūtus sum. To speak or to say, to hold a conversation. What's a soliloquy? To speak in large words is grandiloquent. What's an interlocutor? Eloquent. If you like to talk a lot, you can be called loquacious. In our book, we have loqueris, RIS for you singular. You are talking. Loquuntur, they are talking. Well. It means or. If you do well, well, that means either, or. And you can also use it as an ending. It's called an enclitic when you attach it to a word. And it can mean, for example, kibis aquae, food or water, it should say. Or if you use two of them, it means, just like well up above, either or. Kibis we aqua we, either food or water, H2O. Pedagogus, pedagogy, masculine. Pedagogus, pedagogy, masculine. This means a tutor. It is a combination of two Greek words, pais paidos, child, and ago in Greek, just like ago in Latin means to lead or guide. Look at all the derivatives here. Here's another deponent verb, very common. Ingredior, ingredi, ingressus sum. Ingredior, ingredi, ingressus sum. This verb means to go into or to enter. Now there's a lot of verbs that have this gredior stem with different prefixes to it. It's a verb of stepping or going. Our phrase listed below the story is ingressus sum, egressus est. This is the perfect participle. So it ends in US, so it's he has entered. If we wanted she, we'd change the US to an A. That'd be she has entered. Ērudītus, ērudīta, ērudītum. Ērudītus, ērudīta, ērudītum. Means learned or scholarly. It is related to the word rude, but it's the opposite with the E in front of it. So it means you're not rude or wild, you're the opposite. You're trained, you're learned or scholarly. Here's a good SAT word, erudition, which means training, academic training. Utilis, utile. Utilis, utile. Useful or beneficial. This is a third declension adjective. So the E is for the neuter column, and masculine, feminine the same for third declension here. So obviously we get abuse, useful, usury, utilitarian, anything having to do with use. Ēgredior, ēgredi, ēgressus sum. Ēgredior, ēgredi, ēgressus sum. This verb means to go out. It's another gredior verb, but with X understood in front of it, which is turned to the long E. So same derivatives as we had before with ingredior, that verb meaning to go into, but this is the opposite direction. going out. And here is our phrase from the story, ēgressus sunt. This is masculine plural, and it's they with the nt. They went out, or they have gone out. Pistrinum, pistrini, neuter. Pistrinum, pistrini, neuter. This is a bakery. Here's a photograph of a bakery from Pompeii. Praefero, praefere, praetuli, praelatus. Praefero, praefere, praetuli, praelatus. This is a compound verb of fero, fere, tuli, latus with pri in front of it. It means to prefer, literally to carry one thing, x, the accusative, in front of y, or to prefer x, an accusative, to y, dative. So if you prefer wine to water, wine would be accusative, and water would be the dative case. Here are some derivatives. Lots of derivatives in English. Etiam si, etiam si. It's a conjunction meaning even if. Ad tempus, ad tempus. It means on time. So the derivatives have to do with the word for time. I hope you know what extemporaneous means, or contemporary. And of course the famous phrase, tempus fugit, time flies, or time runs away. Scrīblīta, scrīblītae, feminine. Scrīblīta, scrīblītae, feminine. This is a pastry or a tart that has a cheese filling. It's related to the verb scribo, so the derivatives have a lot to do with writing, like prescription and describe and circumscription. Paulum, paulum. This is an adverb meaning a little. We saw this in the chapter on adverbs. Ientaculum, ientaculi, neuter. Ientaculum, ientaculi, neuter. This is breakfast, as opposed to prandium, which is a modest lunch, and cena, which is the larger dinner meal. Valete.